Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. Josh Schafer, Pras Subramanian joining me to break down some of the other stories that we're keeping an eye on. And guys, I'll go first here because this story really stuck out to me. One of the headlines crossing today that CBS is teaming up with Nickelodeon. They're going to offer an alternate broadcast here for the Super Bowl this year, a slime-filled Super Bowl. It's geared obviously towards the younger generation for kids, so it's offering a family-friendly broadcast here. I think this is such a smart idea. Get more and more people excited for the game, get kids into it. They can share in that excitement with their parents. So I think it could be a huge home run here.
Shauna, we got to highlight, that's the best SpongeBob episode ever, right? That they put out in the trailer with the Super Bowl halftime show. So I think that's a nice play right off the top, right? I love that episode. But I think overall,
I never knew you were such a SpongeBob fan.
I love that episode specifically. But I think it's interesting play when you look at sort of from an NFL perspective and what they might be trying to do here just to get kids more involved, and just a smart play if you're Paramount, right? You already have the Super Bowl, so why not add an alternate broadcast? You see a lot of other networks are starting to do this, right, Pras, with how ESPN has done things with their other personalities, like a Pat McAfee now does a bonus broadcast. So interesting to see Paramount saying, well, we might not have a lot of sports gambling content that we can do a secondary sports gambling broadcast, but we can do a kids broadcast. And so I think that's kind of an interesting spin when you think about, okay, I have the rights. I paid billions of dollars to have these rights. How can I maybe get a little bit more out of them? And I think that's kind of my read through of what the play is from Paramount.
So a couple of things. I saw this playoff game a few years ago when they did the Nickelodeon broadcast, and it was interesting, but I thought, would kids really like it? I'm not sure. But I think it makes sense to do this alternate broadcast. I mean, the Manning cast, like we've seen from Monday Night Football, is a huge hit, getting in more viewers who want to have more of a laid-back experience. Maybe there's something there for a parent to watch the game, but then also have the kids kind of have fun with the slime. I know they have special graphics on the screen. You get slime in the end zone, stuff like that. I just don't know if it's, I mean, is it going to take viewers away from the main broadcast? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know how many it would necessarily take away from the main broadcast. Obviously, some there. When you take a look at the previous numbers when they've done this in the past, now it has not been for the Super Bowl, but they did this in the past for a wild card playoff game. They also did it for a Christmas Day game. And the viewership numbers that I had, right around 2 million for one of those games, just under 1 million for another one of those games. So they are able to attract viewers, right? How many of those viewers maybe wouldn't have tuned in if they didn't have this broadcast? I'm not sure, but I do think it does add an element of fun. I think there is no downside, Josh, to what you were saying before, just in terms of offering this, getting a little bit more out of the money for their deal.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's really going to move the needle, I'm not too sure. But I do think there will be some excitement given the fact that there's so much hype around the Super Bowl.
As someone that just likes sports media discourse too, it'll be interesting to see if people even flip to this to watch part of it, because I know that was a big part of the Nickelodeon broadcast the last couple times.
I watched
part of it just to see it. A lot of the pundits online watched part of it just to see it, right? You comment about it, you see the slime. But now we're dealing with the Super Bowl, so like, are people going to be willing to change the channel to even see what it looks like? Or do they get way less viewership? Because if you don't
you got to think it's not the diehard fans.
Right.
They're not going to take the chance on the Nickelodeon.
When the Patriots are in the Super Bowl,
this year.
this year,
Or the Eagles.
I will not be watching on Nickelodeon.